Welcome in. It is day 107, and you're speaking with the Meeples Champion. And on October 25th, we are bringing in one of my most anticipated games. This is a game I wanted to back on Kickstarter way back in the day. I had gone on, I saw it day one, and I was like, that looks fantastic. And I'm so new to the site, I don't think I can back a game for $200, $250. It seems like a lot. So I favorited it. I waited, and I checked back in near the end of the 30 days and regretted it, because if I was questioning backing it at the beginning, I definitely didn't want to back it when so much had happened that the game had bumped up to $350 in price now. The game ended up having a massive success on Kickstarter, but was not something that you really could ever find in retail and became impossible to get. You were never going to get it from the website or from a store for the regular price again. It ended up being bumped way up. It became a $600-$700 type game because people would resell for such a massive price. Killed me. Well, thankfully, recently, I came into just a little bit of extra cash and trying to think about what to spend it on. I went, you know what? Maybe I'd be willing to spend it on this game if it's a reasonable price. Reasonable ended up being almost half, maybe a third of what I thought was going to be the actual price possibility. I ended up getting it for $225. I was super excited. I got the game in this week, opened it up, checked, everything's there, great condition. So we're going to talk about one of my most anticipated games now, a game that I think fits this month better than most games. That game is Cthulhu Wars. Yes, this is a big box, and this is just the base game. So you're only talking about a 2 to 4 player game. Now, for anybody who's played any Cthulhu games, you have the basic idea. The idea in this game is that you've got your map, and you have your cultists, and you're slowly having your cultists go around the world. You're trying to gather up and get points to eventually end up winning the game via a certain assortment of points. However, during this game, not only are you fighting other people, you're also trying to build up points to spend in order to get portals, summon in monsters, you can get your demons, and eventually sacrifices to allow you to summon your gods. Now, you don't have to summon the god. However, the likeliness is if you don't, you're in trouble. Everybody has their own god, one of the 4, of course, being Cthulhu. And when these guys come onto the board, they are huge figures. They usually take up an entire continent or at least country-sized area compared to everybody else who's in smaller areas. These are massive figures. And you are just, it's an all-out fun battle. This is all about being able to just slam down your minis and say like, all right, Cthulhu's on the board, and go from there. I have not had a chance to truly get to play the game yet. I have watched playthroughs for years. When I got the game in, I set it up. I did a solo playthrough just kind of facing myself. But I'm waiting to try to really get a 4-player game going on this one. It's definitely one that I'm hoping to get pulled out at my game night soon. And when I do, I will be probably coming back and talking about it in some way to everybody again. But despite not having really gotten a true playthrough of it yet, I had to have it in here for October because this is just the game for October. So let's go over our 7 categories and see where this one really fits in on these. So art is an interesting category because the box it's so lacking and yet so perfect. You don't need this to sell the game because the game, you got your title, you got your 4 gods, and it's all black around it. It's a huge box. Everything about this box is simplistic, but it doesn't need to be more than it is. And when you open up the box, everything inside sells the theme. You are dealing with gods of monsters and demons, and it's just craziness. And you just have to love everything that this brings. So I'm a huge fan. It's a thumbs up on this. Your components, I mean, yes, there are cards in this, and there are your little cardboard pieces and all that. Everything's fine. But this is about the minis. I mean, you're talking about between the 4 different factions, somewhere in the region of about 120 to 130 minis, and they are all fantastic. I pulled out every one of them. I checked them out. They look great. Such good work done on these. I'm a huge fan. I think that the components on this game are top notch. It's why the game's so expensive. Those minis, you take them out and this game could drop down to like under $100. Those minis represent 200 plus worth of the original cost of this game. Big thumbs up. Your price. As you know, we start that off with availability. Availability is you will never find this ever in a store. Follow that up with, how often are we going to find it online? Well, I usually judge based on Amazon. You're not going to find it on Amazon. It hasn't been available there for at least a year and a half. I had to get mine through eBay, which I don't like to use eBay. It is not my preference for a location to buy. It's not that I think that eBay is a scam or anything like that. It's not. But I think that eBay comes with an increased percentage of risk. When I got this game, I did everything I could to look in to make sure. I saw pictures. I read everything I could to make sure nobody was trying to screw me over. But it had labeled that this was absolutely no returns. There were no exceptions. So I was a little bit nervous until the game came in. I opened it up and I got to look through it and I knew I had it all. And that everything was in good condition. So it's not available, not easily. And even if it is, I bought it for $225 plus shipping. I love the game. I'm so excited for it. I think it's going to be one of my favorites of all time. It's got to be a thumbs down on that price. Even if it wasn't the issue of availability, regularly this game was going for almost $300, $350 in stores when it was available. So it's expensive. It's not one that should be owned by everybody. It should be owned by very few. This game's not that difficult. And to be fair, difficulty, I mean, yes, difficulty's in the eye of the beholder and all that, but it's more so the idea of what does the difficulty have an issue with. With me, this particular game is exciting for anybody, whether you're a beginner, a kid, experienced or expert. Your eyes say, oh my God, I want to play that game. It looks like so much fun. When you jump into the game, I think experts and experienced are able to have a lot of fun because there's plenty of option there. But on the flip side, I think that those beginners and those kids, even if they don't 100% get it, they don't care because it is like playing with a giant toy with how many minis are in this. And just trying to figure out, like, I may not even care about winning the game. I'm just trying to figure out how can I summon my god and get him out there because I just want to smash this giant piece on the board. And that gives this game an edge that, well, the game I don't think is too difficult to pick up. It almost takes away a whole level of its difficulty for scaring somebody away because that lure of all these minis and how to get them to the board offsets maybe the game's a little bit harder for me than I thought. So thumbs up on that difficulty. Replayability this is surprising. I didn't think this when I picked it up, but it's only a 60 to 90 minute game. I thought I was looking at 3 hours min, but 60 to 90 minutes. Now I'm sure 3 hours will probably be the real time for the first game or two when you're learning. But once you're past that and you've got a group that knows what they're doing, you could play this twice in a night. And this is the type of game that if it's only an hour and a half, you could play it at least 4 or 5 times a year easy because maybe this is even a monthly. I think that's fantastic. It's a thumbs up on that. Your keys to victory. So the idea for keys to victory is just making sure that you're not locked into one specific, this is the only way to win. There's more than one way to win. Are you trying to hold spots? Are you trying to conquer spots? Are you trying to build up? Are you trying to cash your points up top? Are you trying to cash your points below? Are you holding out your points to be able to have more availability for those later points? There's a lot of different ways to go through this game, and I don't feel that they make it so that one way is clearly the best to win. Now, yes, Everybody wants to get their god on the board because it's more fun. And we play games to have fun. So you could argue that, well, there's not a lot of keys to victory because that's the only way. But it's not the only way. It's just the funnest way. And therefore, the likeliness is everybody's going to do that. I mean, if somebody's willing to have the least fun at the table, they can probably find a way to kind of come in later and never have to summon their god to win. But there is just so much fun to summoning the gods that why wouldn't you do it? Point being is, though, there's not a way that's going to guarantee cost you the game or a guarantee win you the game. You have options. Thumbs up. Unique. Is this game unique? There are a lot of games that are kind of this risk type setup with the summoning of different creatures. I don't remember one that looks to this level. Old school Risk, well, you could have different looking characters. They all just represented different numbers. This game, they legitimately come with powers. And I can't really think of another game like that. I think this game is extremely unique. It's the reason why it was on my radar for a decade, waiting for an opportunity to finally add it to my collection. And it's the reason why so many people backed it back in the day. I don't remember the exact number, but I want to say this raised at least 14 million when it was on Kickstarter. It was one of the biggest Kickstarters at the time. It might have been the biggest at the time. So I think it's extremely unique. Big thumbs up. Overall, what do I think of this game? I think that this is a game that is a must play. I know it won't be easy. So you may say, hey, I want to play it. Where can I play it? And my reply would be, you got to go to your local board game stores, see if people own it, see if people want to bring it in and play there. You got to jump online, talk to people, whether it be through your Facebooks, through other social media, going onto Board Game Geek, maybe go on to Board Game Arena and get to know some people there and find out if people are from your area and you want to make friends that way. You don't want to just be walking into a stranger's house, but at the same time, there's so many ways to meet people today. Find somebody. Maybe you can find somebody who has the game and they just never have people who want to play. And you could say, hey, let's see if we can get people together at our local library. Or maybe there's a local restaurant that's okay with you bringing it in. Check ahead of time. Don't show up and take a giant table and have them all be like, what's going on here? Make sure people are okay with it for the establishments. But find an establishment. Find somebody that's in your area that owns it and get together and get a game going. But that's just my opinion. It's up to you guys to make the decision. Is this worth your time? Is it worth your effort? Definitely don't go buy it. I think that this is a game to play, and if you're going to buy it, just be aware. But make that decision for yourself and see where it lands on your interest level. Well, this has been day 107, and we've been speaking about Cthulhu Wars, and you've been speaking to the Meeples Champion. Like, share, subscribe, and while I wish I could add an Amazon link in for this, I can already tell you it's not there. However, I'll keep checking, and if ever this does become available again, I'll add it down below at that point in the description for you. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.